Hello, dear sleepy science listeners. Welcome back to the channel. Before we begin tonight's journey, take a deep breath and let your thoughts slow down. If you enjoy these peaceful stories about the universe, don't forget to like and subscribe so that more people can drift into calmness through the beauty of space. Tonight, we'll explore one of the quietest and most mysterious questions of all. Where does space end? The night sky has always felt endless. When you waves, when? Look up. It stretches forever, a dark ocean scattered with light. The stars seem to go on without limit. The galaxies fade into deeper black, and beyond them, there is only mystery. But somewhere in the silence of that infinity, a question waits like a whisper. Does it stop? And if it does, scientists have looked at the sky not with fear of its vastness, but with wonder. They have built telescopes that can see across billions of years, reaching almost to the edge of time itself. Yet even they admit, the more we see, more endless it appears. The edge of space is not like a wall. It is more like a fading horizon, one that always moves farther the closer we try to reach it. Space expands. It grows every second, stretching like a quiet breath that never ends. Galaxies drift apart. The distance between stars widens and light itself travels endlessly through that vast dark sea. It is not an explosion, a slow, calm unfolding, like ripples spreading across still water. When we ask where space ends, what we are really asking is where existence fades into silence. Is there a boundary, a last particle, a final ray of light before nothing? Or does it continue forever, looping endlessly through itself? The truth may be both stranger and more peaceful than we can imagine. If you close your eyes now, imagine yourself drifting at the edge of everything. Stars behind you, darkness ahead. There is no air, no sound, only the faint hum of your own heartbeat. You reach out and there is nothing to touch, only space, quiet, infinite, gentle. Perhaps that is the real answer. That space does not end because it is not a thing at all, but a calm, invisible canvas on which everything else exists. It holds galaxies the way the ocean holds waves, not confining them, but carrying them endlessly. As you breathe slowly, imagine that expansion. The universe stretching softly, galaxies moving farther apart, stars glowing quietly as they drift. Everything moves, but nothing hurries. The silence between the stars grows wider, and yet it feels full of calm, full of mystery, full of peace. So tonight, as we travel through this story together, let us drift deeper into the question, not to find the edge of space, but to feel its quiet infinity, because perhaps what never ends is not just the universe, but our own capacity to wonder. As you float deeper into the calm of the cosmos, imagine that space itself is breathing. Every moment, it grows a little larger, stretching softly in every direction. Galaxies drift away from each other, not because they are moving through space, but because space itself is expanding around them. It is a quiet, invisible motion, smooth and endless, like the rising of a tide that no one can see. Astronomers call this the expansion of the universe. It began more than 13 billion years ago, when everything, matter, light, time, was gathered in one point of unimaginable density. Since that moment, space has been unfolding, gently and patiently, carrying everything with it. And though billions of years have passed, the expansion has not slowed. In fact, It moves faster now, guided by an invisible force we call dark energy. This means that the more we look outward, the faster galaxies move away from us. At the farthest distances, they move so quickly that their light can never reach us. Those galaxies are still there, still glowing softly in the dark, but their light will forever remain beyond our sight. In a way, that invisible horizon is the edge of what we can know, not the end of space itself, but the limit of our vision. Scientists call it the observable universe, a sphere around us, about 93 billion light-years wide. Everything inside that sphere is what we can see, what we can measure. But beyond it, space continues, quiet and endless, unbothered by the reach of our instruments. No telescope, no machine, no thought can fully capture what lies beyond. And that unknown, rather than frightening, is soothing. It reminds us that mystery still exists. When you think about it, there is comfort in not seeing the end, because the universe does not rush to explain itself. It unfolds slowly, patiently, allowing each star, each galaxy, each moment to simply be. Even the laws that guided it, gravity, light, time, act with perfect calm. There is no noise in their motion, no chaos in their dance. Close your eyes now and picture yourself at the edge of the observable universe. All around you, galaxies shimmer like lanterns suspended in black water. Beyond them, only a gentle darkness stretches on forever. It is not cold, not empty, but full of quiet energy. The same energy that holds your body together. The same energy that holds your body together. That fills your breath, that makes your heartbeat steady. You are part of that stillness. Maybe space doesn't end because it was never meant to. Maybe it exists as a reflection of infinity itself, an endless room for creation, for light, for life. There are no walls to reach, no ceiling to touch, just expansion, soft and eternal. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it, not with your ears, but with your mind. The slow rhythm of galaxies drifting apart. The silent song of time stretching ever onward. It is not a sound you can capture, but a feeling you can rest within. It tells you that there is no need to chase the horizon. You are already part of it. The edge of space may never be found, but perhaps it doesn't need to be, because in the calm vastness of the universe, endings are only illusions. Everything continues. Everything expands. Everything breathes. And within that infinite motion lies the purest peace. The kind that does not ask to be understood, only felt. So as you breathe now, match the rhythm of the universe. Slow, gentle, endless. Feel yourself expand softly with it. Your thoughts spreading like light. Your mind floating freely in the calm of forever. Now the light around you begins to fade into softer tones, and the galaxies behind you become distant glimmers. You are moving toward the edge of sight. The quiet border of the observable universe. Everything you know, every star, every atom, every trace of light lies within the sphere behind you. Ahead, there is only mystery, only the calm darkness that even the fastest light has never reached. Scientists tell us that beyond this horizon the universe continues, not in another place, but in another stretch of the same infinite fabric. Space does not stop. It simply goes beyond our ability to see. The expansion of the universe is faster than the speed of light itself, carrying distant galaxies away so quickly that their glow will never touch us. They drift in silence, beyond contact, beyond knowledge, but not beyond existence. If you could step past that invisible horizon, you would not find a wall or an edge. There would be no boundary, No sudden stop. Instead, the same stars and galaxies would continue, stretching forever. Perhaps they would look different, shaped by forces we cannot sense, by laws slightly altered by distance and time, but the feeling would be the same. Stillness, patience, pace. The light that we do see, even from the farthest galaxies, is ancient. It began its journey billions of years ago, when the universe was young and quiet. As it travels, it stretches with space itself, turning from brilliant blue to soft red, its energy fading like a whisper. This is why astronomers see distant galaxies glowing faintly red. Their light has been stretched by the calm expansion of the universe. It is called redshift, and it is the universe's way of reminding us that everything changes gently over time. Beyond that horizon, space may not only continue, it may repeat. Some theories suggest that the universe could be curved, looping back on itself like the surface of a sphere. If you could travel far enough in one direction, you might eventually return to where you began, having crossed a universe that has no edge, only endless continuity. Others believe there may be countless universes beyond ours, each one floating in the vast sea of existence like bubbles in an eternal ocean. But perhaps what lies beyond is not something to discover, but something to feel. The peace of knowing that infinity does not need to be reached to be real. It simply is. It exists everywhere, including within you. Every breath you take mirrors the slow expansion of space. Every heartbeat echoes the steady rhythm of time itself. The universe beyond our sight is not silent because nothing happens there. It is silent because it moves perfectly, without resistance, without struggle, without interruption. Just motion, just flow, just calm. Even the background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, hums gently through it all, a soft memory of the first light that ever existed. That light is everywhere, filling the gaps between galaxies, touching every atom, wrapping the universe in a blanket of warmth that has lasted for billions of years. Close your eyes now and imagine yourself floating just beyond that horizon. No stars, no planets, no sound. Only a soft glow that comes from everywhere and nowhere. You are surrounded by the calm memory of creation, the quiet breath of time. There is no up or down, no beginning or end, only peace. Perhaps this is where the true edge of space lies, not in distance, but in perception. Not in what we can see, but in what we can feel. The edge is not a line to cross, but a realization that you are already within infinity, that the universe is not around you, but within you. And in that awareness, all boundaries dissolve. So let yourself drift here, at the edge of the known and the unknown. Let your thoughts fade into the same silence that fills the stars. You are safe, timeless, part of everything. The universe continues beyond sight, and so do you. As you drift beyond the horizon of what the eye can see, you begin to feel the rhythm of time itself slow and soften. It does not stop, it does not rush. It only flows, a quiet river, moving through eternity. The deeper you float into the silence, the more you sense that time and space are not separate things, but parts of the same gentle current. Where space stretches, time stretches too. And in that expansion, everything drifts peacefully outward. The universe began small and warm, and it has been cooling ever since. As it expands, the galaxies grow farther apart. The stars age, and light travels longer and longer distances before finding a home. Someday, perhaps, Trillions of years from now, the stars themselves will fade. Their fuel will run out, their light will grow dim, and the universe will become darker and quieter still. Yet even then, it will not end. It will continue to expand, softly, endlessly, carrying its memories in the silence. Scientists sometimes call this distant future the heat death or the eternal fade, a time when everything will be spread so thin that no new stars can form, no new galaxies can shine. But it is not a violent ending. It is a long, peaceful sleep. The universe will rest, filled with the quiet glow of its own past. Even when all the lights go out, the echo of their warmth will remain, whispering softly through the cold. It may seem lonely, but there is beauty in that kind of find. Stillness. Imagine a sky with no stars, only a soft gray light that comes from everywhere at once. No shadows, no glare, only calm. It is the universe in balance. Energy spread evenly across infinite space. It is not emptiness. It is completion. The final breath of creation drawn out into eternity. But perhaps the story doesn't truly stop there, because expansion itself may hold the seed of renewal. If space can grow forever, maybe it can also fold and begin again. Some theories suggest that one day, after stretching beyond measure, the universe could slow, pause, and then contract, collapsing softly inward until all becomes one again, a single point, silent and bright, ready to breathe once more. Even if that happens, it will not feel like destruction. It will feel like rest, like the universe exhaling after an eternity of creation. And in that rest, every atom, every light, every soul would merge back into the same source. The cycle would begin again, as it always has. Birth, expansion, rest, and rebirth. An endless heartbeat that never stops. Time itself is woven into this rhythm. It does not move in straight lines. It curls and bends, forming loops, layers, echoes. In the spaces between seconds, entire lifetimes could unfold. And just as the stars exist for billions of years yet vanish in a blink, so too do our moments come and go like flashes of light across eternity. But nothing is wasted, because time keeps every memory, every shimmer, every motion within its flow. Kandi, close your eyes now and imagine the end of time not as a stop, but as a calm horizon. The ticking slows, the movement fades, and what remains is peace, the same peace that fills your body as you rest. You are not outside of time, you are part of it, floating in its current like a leaf on a quiet river. The question of where space ends is also a question of when it ends. But maybe it never does. Maybe both space and time are infinite reflections of one another, expanding and breathing together in harmony. Every breath you take mirrors that same expansion. Inhale, creation. Exhale, stillness. You are stillness. You are the echo of the universe remembering itself. So let yourself rest in that rhythm. The soft pulse of time moving through your thoughts, the endless stretch of space around you, both flowing together like two halves of the same song. There is no end, no edge, no final moment, only continuation, only calm, only forever. The deeper you drift into this vast silence, the more the universe around you begins to resemble your own thoughts. Both seem endless when you look closely. Both stretch beyond what can be measured, and both contain moments of brightness surrounded by oceans of calm. Your mind, like the cosmos, holds galaxies of memory, constellations of emotion, and endless space between them for stillness to live. When you look up at the night sky, you are also looking inward. The same light that fills the stars shines softly within you. The same quiet energy that expands through the cosmos hums through your body. Every thought is a spark. Every dream a faint glow drifting through the black. Consciousness itself is a kind of universe, one that breathes, one that changes, one that has no clear beginning or end. The more you allow your mind to slow, the wider it feels. Thoughts stretch out like the arms of galaxies, but between them there is peace. Those spaces, the pauses between ideas, are where calm begins. The universe, too, is made mostly of those spaces, vast stretches of darkness where light takes its time to travel. The silence between the stars and the silence between your thoughts are the same silence, patient and infinite. Scientists say the universe is about 95% invisible. Dark energy and dark matter shaping what little we can see. And the mind is not so different. Most of what you are lies beneath awareness, in the quiet regions beyond thought. That hidden space is not empty. It is full of life, full of potential. When you close your eyes and let yourself drift, you enter that invisible part of yourself, the vast, calm field of being that connects you to everything. Maybe that is why we can never find where space ends, because the edge we seek is also within us. Infinity is not a destination. It is a reflection. The more deeply we look into the universe, the more we discover the shape of our own awareness. Endless, expanding, calm. Imagine now that your mind and the universe merge. Your thoughts become stars. Your memories become galaxies. Your awareness becomes the quiet space between them. You are floating in yourself, yet you are everywhere. There is no separation, no border between inner and outer. It all blends into one field of light and dark, motion and stillness. As you breathe in, imagine galaxies forming in your chest. As you breathe out, imagine them drifting away, gentle and bright. Each breath expands the universe a little more. Each pause between breaths opens new worlds of silence. Your body is no longer heavy. It becomes space itself. Vast, soft, limitless. This feeling of infinity is not meant to overwhelm. It is meant to comfort, because it reminds you that you do not need to hold on to anything. The universe does not grasp its stars. It lets them move freely, trusting that everything will remain in balance. You can do the same. Let your thoughts go where they wish. Let your feelings drift like dust through light. Nothing needs to be controlled. Nothing needs to be forced. Even now, billions of miles away, the galaxies continue their slow dance, unbothered by time or direction. They move as you breathe, calm and endless. The rhythm of the cosmos and the rhythm of your rest are one and the same. So let your awareness grow lighter, like light itself traveling without weight. Let it spread across the darkness, touching everything gently. There is no edge to reach, no goal to find. There is only the feeling of being calm, infinite, and safe. The universe does not ask for understanding, only presence. And as you lie here breathing in time with the stars, you have already reached it. The place where space ends and begins again, where thought fades and peace takes its place. It is not far away. It is here within you, glowing quietly, forever. As you float in the endless quiet, something inside you begins to soften. The idea of infinity, once too large to imagine, starts to feel gentle. It is no longer a mystery to solve, but a feeling to rest within. The universe stretches on without boundary, and in that boundlessness there is calm. Because calm, what has no end also has no fear of ending. Space is infinite, not just in size, but in patience. It expands slowly, steadily, never asking where it must stop. The galaxies do not struggle to reach a destination. They simply drift, carried by the silent breath of creation. And as you think of this, you realize that you too are moving in that same still flow, without rush, without effort. Infinity can seem impossible, but in truth it is familiar. Every time you breathe, you echo it. There is no clear beginning to your breath, no real end, just a rhythm that continues in the same way the universe breathes through expansion and stillness, through light and dark. Everything in existence is part of that breath, including you. The stars you see are proof that infinity has beauty. Their light travels for billions of years and still finds its way to you. Their glow reminds you that even across impossible distances, connection exists. Light does not vanish. It only becomes softer, slower, more peaceful. It fades into the background like a quiet thought. But it never disappears completely. When people wonder where space ends, what they are really asking is where understanding ends. But the truth is, the mind and the universe both expand the more we explore them. They are reflections of one another, both vast, mysterious, both made of light and silence. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the universe resting, not asleep, but calm, suspended in balance. It is the same stillness that fills your room now, the same stillness between heartbeats, the same peace that waits beneath every thought. Infinity does not shout. It hums quietly, reminding you that you are safe, that you belong here. The farther you look into the universe, the softer its edges become. Stars fade into mist, mist into shadow, and shadow into gentle air. Nothing, yet even in nothing there is potential, there is calm. The unknown is not empty. It is full of possibility. That is why it brings peace rather than fear. As you breathe now, imagine the horizon of space drifting farther away, softening into light. The more it expands, the more serene it becomes. There is no boundary, no wall, only openness. And in that openness, your thoughts slow. Your body loosens. Your heart finds its rhythm again. You are part of something eternal, something that never began and will never end. Infinity is not far away. It is within you, in your stillness, in your awareness, in your quiet acceptance of the moment. You are already floating in it, surrounded by endless calm. Space does not end, and neither does peace. It continues, softly, forever. Since the first night a human looked up, our kind has wondered where the sky might end. We build stories and telescopes for the same reason, to touch something greater, to feel the quiet pulse of the universe within ourselves. Every time a pair of eyes searches the stars, it is not just curiosity, it is longing, a wish to remember where we came from. We are made of the universe, yet we spend our lives trying to see it. Perhaps that is why it feels peaceful. To stare into the night, the silence above reminds us of our own origins, the dust and light that formed us. When you look at the stars, you are looking at family, distant, ancient, glowing softly through time. Scientists use instruments to measure and calculate, but even they admit that numbers alone cannot hold the feeling of infinity. Beyond the data, there is awe, and awe is quiet. It slows the heart. It slows the heart. It softens the mind. It brings stillness. Wonder is a kind of rest. It opens a space inside us where thought pauses and peace begins. Our search for the end of space is really a search for reflection. When we ask how far the universe goes, we are also asking how far our awareness can reach. Every new discovery about the cosmos becomes a mirror for the soul. The deeper we look outward, the deeper we look inward. And in both directions, we find the same answer. No edge, only continuation. Imagine standing on a mountain at night, far from the lights of cities. The sky above is deep and full, stars scattered like dust across black velvet. In that silence, questions lose their urgency. You no longer need to know where it ends, because the beauty of not knowing feels enough. The mystery itself becomes the comfort. The stars do not ask to be understood. They ask to be seen, and the act of seeing them, slowly, without words, is what calms the mind. It reminds you that existence does not need to be explained to be real. It only needs to be felt. Even as we send ships and signals into the dark, the purpose is not conquest but connection. We are not trying to reach the edge of space, but to remind ourselves that we are part of it, that even the smallest voice in the vastness still belongs. And so you breathe, and the stars breathe with you. Their light travels endlessly outward, and your awareness expands endlessly inward. The two directions meet somewhere in between, in this quiet moment of being. Here, you are both observer and universe, both question and answer. There is no need to chase more knowledge now. The peace that people have searched for across lifetimes is not hidden among the stars. It is within the stillness that comes when you stop searching, when you simply watch, simply listen, simply rest. Let the sky above you blur into soft silver, the stars melting into one endless light. Let your breath slow until it matches the turning of the galaxies. And know that even though the universe has no end, you have found its heart right here, within the quiet between your thoughts. As the night deepens around you, the line between yourself and the universe begins to fade. Your thoughts grow lighter, like dust drifting through starlight. Your breathing slows until it feels like the rhythm of something far larger. There is no separation now between you and what you see. The sky is not above you anymore. It is within you. Every heartbeat a pulse of the cosmos, every quiet breath a wave moving through infinity. The mind often imagines itself as small, contained inside the body. But when you rest like this, you begin to sense the truth. Your awareness has no edge. It stretches softly outward, blending into the space around you. It expands without effort, just as space itself expands. The more you relax, the farther you reach. The boundaries of who you are dissolve into the calm fabric of everything. You are not falling asleep so much as returning, drifting back into the same stillness that existed before you were born, the same stillness that cradled the first stars before they began to shine. Sleep is not absence. It is reunion. It is your consciousness moving back into alignment with the quiet of the universe. Imagine yourself floating among galaxies now, their arms turning slowly, their light faint and silver. The stars hum softly, their energy steady and patient. They are not distant anymore. They are all around you. Their warmth moves through you like breath, like comfort, like the memory of belonging. Even the darkness here feels alive. It is not empty or cold. It is full of quiet awareness, as if the universe itself were watching, breathing, waiting. You are part of that awareness. The watcher and the watched, the dream and the dreamer, all joined in one endless stillness. There's no direction now, no up, no down, no before, no after. Only the soft flow of time stretching outward like light. Everything moves together in slow harmony. Galaxies expanding, stars glowing, you breathing. The same energy in every form, the same calm filling every space. When you wonder where space ends, the answer comes to you here, wordless and simple. It doesn't, it cannot, because you are part of it, and you have no end either. Your thoughts, your energy, your light continue in ways unseen, blending into the vast, calm ocean of existence. Nothing truly stops. It only changes rhythm. It only changes rhythm. It only transforms. Let your mind grow even softer now. The stars dim slightly, as though respecting your rest. The vastness around you feels like a warm sea, supporting you completely. Your body grows lighter. Your thoughts dissolve one by one, like ripples fading into still water. There is nothing to hold, nothing to release. You are safe in the dark, safe in the infinite, safe in the quiet pulse that carries all things forward. The edge of space is no longer a question. It is a feeling, the feeling of endlessness, of home, of peace. Sleep comes gently here, not as an ending, but as a continuation. Your mind floats in the rhythm of the galaxies. Your breath merges with the breath of the universe. Everything is connected. Everything rests. Everything softly shines softly in a silence. And as you drift deeper, you realize that the stars have always been inside you. They were never far away. You were never looking out. You were always looking in. For most of history, people believed the sky was a dome, a ceiling covering the world. They imagined the stars fixed upon it, like candles hung in a great dark room. But as science grew, so did our understanding. And what we found was not a ceiling at all, but an endless fabric, stretching, curving, and expanding in every direction. Space is not a flat emptiness. It is woven together with time, forming something scientists call space-time. Every planet, every star, even light itself moves along this fabric. When something heavy, like a star or a planet, sits within it, space-time bends. This bending is what we feel as gravity, not a force pulling us downward, but the shape of the universe guiding us gently toward everything else. If you could see space-time from afar, it would look like an invisible sea. Galaxies, floating on its surface, their weight creating gentle waves that ripple through the dark. These waves are called gravitational waves, and we can actually detect them. They are the universe's way of whispering about its movements. Black holes merging, stars collapsing, galaxies shifting their rhythm. The universe itself has a shape too, though it is not one we can easily picture. The evidence suggests that it is flat but curved in higher dimensions, like a sheet stretched tightly, smooth and endless. This means if you could travel in one direction long enough, you might never find an edge. Instead, you might loop around and return to where you started, having crossed a universe with no walls at all. Astronomers have measured the oldest light in existence, the cosmic microwave background radiation. a faint glow left over from the birth of the universe. It comes from a time just 380,000 years after the Big Bang, when the first atoms formed and light could finally travel freely. This radiation fills all of space, coming from every direction equally, like a soft echo of creation itself. This ancient light shows us that the universe is remarkably uniform. The same temperature, the same balance, everywhere we look, and that tells us something profound. There is no special center, no privileged place where it all began. The universe looks the same from any point. If you stood on a planet in a distant galaxy and looked around, it would appear much like the view from Earth. This is called the cosmological principle. The idea that the universe has no single middle and no true edge. So when we ask, where does space end? The most accurate answer is, it doesn't, not because it is infinite in distance, but because it has no outer boundary. It curves back upon itself or stretches forever, depending on the geometry. But in both cases, there is no wall to touch, no border to cross. Only more space, more time, more quiet unfolding. Yet, even with all this knowledge, there are limits. We can only see as far as light has had time to reach us since the beginning. About 46 billion light years in every direction. Beyond that lies the unobservable universe, a realm we may never see. Not because it is hidden, but because it is hidden, but because time itself has not allowed its light to arrive yet. It exists, but it is still beyond the horizon of our experience. The expansion of space ensures that those far regions will drift farther and farther away. In the distant future, their light will fade completely, leaving only the galaxies nearest to us visible. And so, the night sky we know is temporary, a living picture of the universe's early youth. Still, there is beauty in that impermanence, because even as the stars change, even as galaxies move apart, the same laws of nature continue to hold everything together. Gravity, light, time, and the invisible threads that connect it all. When you think about the question, where does space end? Remember that the answer is not a point, but a process. It is not a place to find, but a pattern to understand. The universe has no edge because it is always becoming. Every second it grows. Every moment it continues, quietly and endlessly. So as you rest tonight, let that thought stay with you, that you are not living at the center of the universe, but within it. Surrounded by its calm, carried by its expansion, a small but essential part of something without end. Without end. For many years, astronomers believed that the universe's expansion must be slowing down. Gravity, they thought, would gradually pull galaxies toward each other, perhaps even leading to a future collapse. But in the late 1990s, observations, distant supernovae revealed something surprising. The expansion of the universe is not slowing, it's speeding up. Something unseen is pushing galaxies away from one another faster and faster. That invisible influence is called dark energy. Dark energy makes up roughly 70% of the universe, yet we know almost nothing about it. It is not form of form, light or matter. It doesn't clump or gather in any one place. It fills space evenly, like a quiet background pressure that stretches the fabric of the cosmos itself. Scientists don't yet know what it truly is. It could be an energy inherent to space, or perhaps a property of gravity we do not yet understand. Whatever its nature, it dominates the universe, shaping its distant future. To imagine its effect, think of the galaxies as small lights scattered across an expanding balloon. As the balloon grows, the lights move apart, not because they are moving on their own, but because the space between them is stretching. Now imagine that balloon expanding faster every second. That is what the universe is doing. driven by this invisible energy that pushes on the fabric of reality. This expansion changes how we see the cosmos. Light from faraway galaxies travels longer and longer paths before reaching us, stretching into redder wavelengths as it moves through the expanding space. Over time, many galaxies will drift so far that their light will never reach Earth again. In tens of billions of years, the universe will look emptier. The night sky will grow darker as distant galaxies fade beyond visibility. Despite its name, dark energy is not violent or chaotic. It acts quietly and evenly, increasing the distance between everything in the universe without tearing matter apart. Stars and galaxies remain bound by their own gravity, but on the largest scales, dark energy defines the rhythm of the cosmos. If its influence continues to grow, the universe may face one of several possible fates. One is the Big Freeze, where the expansion never stops, stars burn out, and galaxies drift forever in the dark. Another idea, though less certain, is the Big Rip, in which expansion accelerates so much that even galaxies, stars, and atoms are eventually pulled apart. Or perhaps dark energy could weaken in time, allowing gravity to slow the expansion once more. At present, all evidence points to continued gentle acceleration. The cosmos is growing colder and quieter, but not in a tragic way. It is following its own natural path, a long, slow unwinding of energy that began more than 13 billion years ago. When you look at the night sky, every point of light you see is part of that process. The universe isn't static. It is alive with motion. Galaxies spin, stars are born and die, light travels, and space itself grows larger. Between them, it is a vast and patient evolution, too slow to notice moment by moment, yet grand enough to shape everything that exists. Understanding dark energy reminds us of how little we know and how much there is still to discover. It shows that, even after centuries of exploration, the universe continues to surprise us. Quiet, vast, and full of unanswered questions. And within those questions lies a strange kind of peace, the realization that infinity is not empty but alive, always unfolding, always continuing. When people ask where space ends, what they are really asking is, what shape does the universe have? To know whether it ends, loops, or stretches forever, scientists have spent decades measuring the geometry of the cosmos itself. The results are not what most expected. The universe is not flat like a sheet of paper, nor is it curved like the surface of a ball, at least not in the way we imagine objects in daily life. It exists in 4 dimensions, 3 of space and 1 of time, woven together into what physicists call space-time. Einstein's theory of general relativity tells us that mass and energy bend this fabric, shaping the paths that light and matter follow. What we call gravity is really this bending of space-time. To test the universe's overall shape, scientists looked at the cosmic microwave background, the faint radiation left over from the Big Bang. This ancient light acts like a map, carrying subtle variations that reveal how space bends on the largest scales. The evidence so far suggests that the universe is almost perfectly flat, meaning that parallel lines would never converge or diverge, even across unimaginable distances. But flat does not mean simple. Even a flat universe can be infinite, or it can wrap around itself like the surface of a higher dimensional object. If it does loop, traveling in one direction, long enough might bring you back to your starting point, just as walking around Earth eventually returns you to where you began. If it is truly infinite, there would be no edge, no border. Only more of the same, extending without limit. These are not just abstract ideas. They affect how galaxies form and how light travels. In a closed universe, gravity would eventually stop expansion and pull everything back together. In an open or flat universe, expansion continues. Forever. Current evidence, supported by the discovery of dark energy, points toward an ever-expanding cosmos. Even so, the scale of it defies imagination. The observable universe, everything whose light has reached us since the Big Bang, stretches about 93 billion light-years across. Yet, this is only a fraction of what exists. Beyond the horizon lies more space, perhaps infinitely more. We can't see it, not because it isn't there, but because light hasn't had enough time to arrive. If you could step outside the universe and look back, though such a thing is impossible, you would not see a sphere or a boundary. You would see something closer to a limitless ocean, curving softly in dimensions the human mind can barely picture. It would not have an edge to fall from, only an ever-growing expanse of light and matter flowing through time. Even on smaller scales, that curvature can be seen. Massive galaxies bend the light that passes near them, creating arcs and circles known as gravitational lenses. This effect allows astronomers to peer behind cosmic objects and see galaxies otherwise hidden. It's a visible sign that space is not rigid. It flexes and flows. All of these observations lead to one calm truth. The universe does not end the way a road ends. It transitions from what we can see to what we cannot, from light to darkness, from known to unknown. Every discovery pushes the boundary outward, but the boundary itself keeps retreating. The more we measure, the more we find that space behaves with quiet consistency. It expands, curves gently, and follows laws that hold everywhere, from the smallest atom to the largest cluster of galaxies. In that uniformity, there is comfort. The same physics that governs the stars also governs you. The same balance that keeps galaxies in motion keeps your planet in orbit. When you look up at the night sky, you are not seeing an edge, but a cross-section of eternity. The horizon is not a wall. It is simply the limit of what light has had time to tell us. Beyond it, the story continues, written in silence, expanding farther each second. When we look into the night sky, we are looking into the past. Every beam of light carries a message from a different time, and together, they tell us that the universe is changing. Galaxies are drifting farther apart, stars are being born and dying, and even the space between atoms is stretching ever so slightly. The question scientists now ask is not just where does space end, but how will it end, if it ends at all? The key to that answer lies in how expansion behaves over time. Observations show that the universe's expansion is accelerating, powered by dark energy, a form of energy that acts like an invisible pressure, pushing galaxies apart. As space grows, the amount of matter inside it becomes more diluted, but dark energy does not thin out. It remains constant, filling every cubic centimeter of the cosmos equally. Because of that, the expansion never slows. It gently increases. If this process continues, the universe's future will be one of calm and gradual change. The galaxies nearest to ours, those in the local group, including Andromeda, will remain bound by gravity. In about 4 billion years, the Milky Way and Andromeda will merge, forming a larger elliptical galaxy. The night sky then will glow with thousands of bright new stars. But beyond that island of light, the universe will keep expanding, carrying more distant galaxies out of view. After roughly 100 billion years, the only visible galaxies will be those within our local cluster. All others will have moved so far away that their light can never reach us again. Future astronomers, if any exist, will look up and see a much darker sky. They might not even be able to detect evidence of the Big Bang, because the cosmic background radiation will have stretched into wavelengths too faint to measure. Over longer timescales, even the stars within galaxies will begin to fade. The largest, brightest stars live fast, and die young, ending their lives as supernovae or black holes. Smaller stars, like our sun, burn for billions of years before cooling into white dwarfs, hot, dense remnants that slowly dim over trillions of years. Eventually, the universe will enter what physicists call the degenerate era, when nearly all the light has gone out. During this distant future, galaxies will consist mostly of dead stars, black holes, and cold remnants drifting through expanding space. Some black holes will merge, others will slowly evaporate through a process known as Hawking radiation, releasing their mass back into energy over unimaginable timescales, numbers so large they exceed comprehension, followed by more zeros than the human brain can picture. At the very end, perhaps after 10, 100, 10, 100 years, the universe will be dark. No new stars will form. Matter will decay into subatomic particles and fade into the background. This is the heat death, not an explosion, not destruction, but a quiet, endless cooling. The universe does not stop. It simply loses contrast. It becomes smooth, balanced, and still. Some theories, however, suggest that this may not be the final word. Space could fluctuate at the quantum level, allowing new regions of expansion to form, what scientists call cosmic inflation continuing elsewhere. Each new expansion might create its own universe, a separate bubble with its own laws of physics. If that's true, then what we call the universe is only one chapter in a much larger story, a multiverse of endless creation and renewal. From a scientific view, these timescales are so vast that they erase our sense of urgency. The processes that will darken the galaxies will take longer than the age of everything we know. The universe's future is not a fall into chaos, but a slow, steady drift toward balance. That knowledge can be strangely peaceful. The cosmos began in heat and light, and it will end in quiet and calm. Between those two moments lies everything, every star, every life, every idea. The atoms that make us were born from ancient stars and will one day return to that same calm background. Nothing is lost. It only changes form. So when you look at the night sky and wonder where space ends, remember, it doesn't. It simply evolves. It expands, cools, transforms, and continues, as it always has, and as it always will. The future of the universe is not written in one clear line. Though current evidence supports continued expansion, cosmologists have explored several possible endings, each shaped by the delicate balance between gravity, matter, and dark energy. These ideas are not predictions, but windows into how the laws of physics might guide the fate of everything that exists. The first, and most accepted scenario is called the Big Freeze. In this future, dark energy remains constant, and the expansion of the universe continues forever. Galaxies drift farther apart, stars exhaust their fuel, and cosmic structures slowly fade. Over trillions of years, the night sky would grow darker, until even the last white dwarfs cooled into black husks. The universe would not collapse or explode. It would simply thin out, its energy spread evenly across infinite space. This quiet, endless cooling is why the Big Freeze is also known as the heat death of the cosmos. Another, more dramatic possibility is the Big Rip. In this model, dark energy does not stay constant. It grows stronger over time. The expansion rate would accelerate so rapidly that galaxies, stars, and planets could no longer hold together. Eventually, even atoms would be torn apart as space itself stretched faster than the forces binding matter. The universe would end in a final moment of disintegration. Observations so far show no sign that dark energy behaves this way, but the idea remains a striking reminder of how powerful the expansion could become. A third scenario, very different from the pole. Others is the Big Crunch. Here, gravity eventually overcomes expansion. The galaxies slow, halt, and begin to fall back toward one another. Over billions of years, they merge into a single, dense mass. Temperatures rise as everything collapses inward, and the universe ends as it began, in heat and light. For this to happen, there would need to be far more matter than we currently observe. The discovery of accelerating expansion makes this future unlikely, but it offers a poetic symmetry, an eternal cycle of birth and return, closely related to. The Big Crunch is the Big Bounce. Instead of ending forever, the universe could collapse and then explode outward again in a new Big Bang. Action and contraction might alternate endlessly, a heartbeat of creation and renewal, stretching across eternity. While we have no direct evidence for this yet, some cosmological models allow such cycles, suggesting that time itself may be much older than we can imagine. There is also the idea of vacuum decay, rooted in quantum physics. It proposes that our universe might not exist in the most stable state possible. Somewhere, far away, a tiny bubble of a lower energy vacuum could form. If such a bubble appeared, it would expand at nearly the speed of light, rewriting the laws of physics as it passed. But even if this were true, the timescales involved are so vast that it remains more a mathematical curiosity than a practical concern. Each of these theories, freeze, rip, crunch, or bounce, comes from the same effort to answer a single question. How does something infinite change? The answer depends on quantities that are still mysterious. The exact density of matter, the strength of dark energy, and the shape of space-time itself. What is certain is that the universe will continue to evolve. Galaxies will keep moving apart, stars will keep burning and fading, and space will keep expanding. The sky we see tonight is a temporary arrangement, a brief pattern in a story that spans forever. It can be humbling to realize that our entire existence fits into one moment of cosmic time. But there is also peace in that realization. The same physical laws that shape the distant galaxies also shape us. We are built from the same matter that will one day return to the stars. The universe's future is our future too. Not in fear, but in continuity. In every version of the story, whether the cosmos cools, collapses, or begins again, nothing truly vanishes. Energy changes, matter transforms, light fades, and reappears. The universe never stops being. It only changes how it exists. And perhaps that is the most important truth of all. The question, where does space end, has no final answer, because space is not something that ends. It is something that continues, always in motion, always becoming. When astronomers talk about the universe, they often mean the observable universe, the part of space whose light has had time to reach us since the Big Bang. That sphere, about 93 billion light-years across, is enormous, yet it may be only a small fraction of what actually exists. Beyond that horizon lies the unobservable universe, a realm we cannot see, measure, or visit, but one that, almost certainly, continues. The limit of what we can observe is set by the speed of light and the age of the cosmos. Light travels fast, but not infinitely so. In the 13.8 billion years since the universe began, only photons within that distance have reached Earth. Anything farther away remains invisible, not because it has vanished, but because its light is still on the way. The boundary between what we can see and what we cannot is called the cosmic light horizon. Yet most cosmologists believe space does not stop there. Measurements of the cosmic microwave background show that the universe is flat to within a tiny margin of error. For it to appear that flat on scales we can measure, it must extend much farther than we can detect, perhaps billions or trillions of times larger than the visible region. The observable universe then may be like a single bubble in an ocean without shore. What lies beyond could look much the same as what we see here. Galaxies, stars, nebulae, and clusters following the same laws of physics. But there are other possibilities. Some regions could have slightly different physical constants, different ratios of matter to radiation, or even alternate forms of energy and matter. Inflation theory, which explains the universe's rapid expansion in its first instant, suggests that space may have ballooned far beyond our horizon, creating countless patches of space-time isolated from one another. This idea leads to the concept of the multiverse. In some models, inflation never ended everywhere at once. Instead, it stopped in separate regions, each forming its own universe. These regions would be disconnected, each with its own Big Bang, its own galaxies, and potentially its own laws of nature. We cannot test this idea directly, but it arises naturally from mathematics that already describe our own cosmic history. There are even versions of the multiverse theory that involve quantum mechanics. According to the many worlds interpretation, every quantum event branches into multiple outcomes, each creating a new parallel version of reality. In that sense, there could be countless universes layered alongside ours, differing by the smallest possible choices. A particle turning left instead of right, a star forming in one timeline, but not another. Though these concepts stretch beyond experiment, they reflect how far human imagination must reach to describe the infinite. Even if the multiverse exists, we will likely never interact with it. The distances and physical barriers are too great. Light and gravity cannot cross from one universe to another. But thinking about it reminds us of something essential. Our cosmic horizon is not the edge of everything. It is only the edge of everything, of what we can currently know. The rest continues, unseen but real, expanding under the same laws that shape the space around us. In a way, this understanding is comforting. It means that our place in the cosmos is not the center, but part of a vast continuum. The same matter that forms our world could exist in countless variations elsewhere. The same physics that govern the stars in our sky might give rise to completely different structures far beyond sight. When we look up at night, the light that reaches us is only a thin layer of the whole. Each star is a window into a universe much larger than it appears, a single point in a network that may stretch forever. The observable horizon marks not an end, but a boundary of curiosity, a reminder that knowledge, like space itself, keeps expanding. The more we discover, the wider that boundary grows. Every new telescope, every new observation pushes the frontier outward, and yet the horizon moves with it, always one step beyond. Perhaps this is how the universe keeps us wondering, by showing enough to inspire awe but keeping enough hidden to maintain mystery. In the end, the question what lies beyond may never have a final answer. But that uncertainty is not a failure of science. It is part of its beauty. The universe does not need to reveal everything at once. It invites us to keep looking, to keep imagining, and to find peace in the endlessness that surrounds us. Time, like space, has no clear edges. It flows, stretches, and curves along the same fabric that shapes the universe. Every second that passes for us is part of a single continuous structure that began with the Big Bang and will extend far beyond the limits of imagination. The past has not vanished, and the future does not yet exist in isolation. They are both woven into the same cosmic tapestry, connected by the steady rhythm of light. When we look at the night sky, we are not seeing what is, but what was. The light from the nearest star takes more than 4 years to reach us. The light from the Andromeda galaxy began its journey 2.5 million years ago, long before humans existed. The light from the most distant galaxies we can detect began traveling over 13 billion years ago, when the universe was young and filled with newly born stars. To look outward is to look backward in time. In this way, the universe preserves its history in plain sight. Every photon, every particle carries with it the memory of its origin. Light is the messenger of time, showing us not only where things are, but where they have been. It is a reminder that nothing truly disappears. It only moves farther away, its story stretched across the expanding sea of space. The relativity of time means that every observer lives in their own version of the universe's timeline. A clock on a satellite ticks slightly faster than one on Earth. A clock near a black hole runs slower than one in open space. There is no single, universal moment shared by all. Instead, there are countless overlapping no's, each one as valid as the next. The cosmos does not move through time. Time is part of the cosmos itself. This realization changes how we think about beginnings and endings. The Big Bang was not an explosion that happened in space. It was the moment when space and time themselves began. And whatever future awaits, whether a slow fading, a collapse, or something else entirely, it will not happen after time ends, but as part of the same continuous story. The universe is not a journey from one point to another. It is an unfolding, an ongoing present that constantly renews itself. Even now, as you exist on this small planet orbiting an ordinary star, you are part of that renewal. The atoms in your body were forged in ancient stars that lived and died billions of years ago. The iron in your blood once burned in the heart of a supernova. The calcium in your bones was formed in the death throes of long-forgotten suns. You are a living summary of cosmic history, proof that the universe not only expands outward, but inward, into thought, memory, and awareness. Every discovery humanity makes brings us closer to understanding this connection. We build telescopes to see deeper into space, but in doing so we also look deeper into time, tracing our own origin through the light that still crosses the void. And the more we learn, the more we realize that the universe's greatest mystery is not out there. It is the fact that we are here to ask the question at all. So where does space end? Perhaps it doesn't. Perhaps it continues without boundary, just as time continues without pause. Or perhaps the question itself has no answer because the universe, in its truest form, is not something to reach the end of, but something to be within. It surrounds us, sustains us, and includes us. We are not outside it, looking in. We are part of its fabric, made of the same matter, following the same laws, carried along in its gentle expansion. One day, the last light of our galaxy will fade, the stars will cool, and the universe will grow silent. But even then, essence of all things, the energy, the patterns, the memory of light, will remain. Nothing is ever truly gone. It only changes shape, becoming part of something new. And maybe that is the most comforting truth of all. The universe does not end, because it was never meant to. It continues quietly, endlessly, in the same way your breath continues in the dark, steady, soft, and infinite. The stars above are not distant strangers. They are the echoes of your own beginning. In the grand stillness of space, everything is connected. Time, matter, light, and life, woven together into a single, unbroken story. And though that story may never have a final page, its beauty lies in its continuity, in the quiet knowledge that existence itself goes on forever.